himself was bringing a large force down into Kent to deal with the rising here. It has not yet arrived. This is an ad hoc group made up of local forces, militia, trained bands as they were called at the time, and other small forces which have been recently raised to deal with the rebellion. So these men are not well trained, they are not massively well equipped, but they will be facing also potentially ill-trained, ill-led, ill-conformed Royalist forces. The cavalry starts moving out to screen this Royalist advance, and Royalist infantry starting to move onto the field. And the pikemen, carrying their 16-foot-long ash pike. These pike are initially a defensive weapon designed to protect the musketeers from cavalry. However, they can and are used in the assault as well. The parliamentarian left flank. They have 3 pieces including a 6-pounder. And the parliamentarian commander moving his forces down now to confront the Royalist. Small number of Royalist cavalry. These can cause huge problems to the infantry. They can disrupt and slow down any manoeuvre which the parliamentarian commander may wish to make. Begin to set up.
Swing it round.
No, not you. No, I was just No, right.
Both armies standing at a considerable range to start this action. This was quite common. The musket will shoot a ball around about 200 yards, but at that range you are unlikely to be severely injured. The parliamentarian army has decided to open actions by firing its artillery as soon as it's in place. Now the muskets starting to come into action. The possibility of hitting somebody is quite poor. What they're trying to do is unnerve and unsettle their opponents. Both sides will realise that they're facing untried and untested troops. So it may come down as to which of these is going to break first. And so low levels of long-range fire starting up from the infantry at each other, as I said, with little prospect of effect. Salvo. This is a method by which you can fire all of your muskets at once. At this range, he's got little chance of his musketeers being attacked while they're unloaded.
Oh, you're right. Quickly, get those ones down here! Get them down here now!
And the Royalist artillery seems to have got itself into position finally, and now they're starting to load to respond to the initial parliamentarian bombardment. Both sides starting to move forward. The Royalist commander throwing forward his musketeers first, get them a little closer to the enemy, keeping his pike in reserve. whole line forward.
Take your aim! Together, give fire! Until these scouts fall up there. Another one.
Cavalry coming out just onto the flank of the parliamentarian advance. This will force the flank unit there to form a defensive position, stopping their advance. This is a real advantage for the Royalist commando. Even this small number of horse will slow down any parliamentarian manoeuvres. Move in to attack the Royalist left flank. The Royalist artillery opens up. The pike tips coming down. Behind the parliamentarian line. The entire troop in one shot. So the Burgundy unit in the centre there, having some billmen attached to it, holding the cavalry off. All down at the bottom of the field on the left. The pike continue to clash. The parliamentary commander determined to break through this Royalist line. Lucky today, have a light breeze which is moving the smoke away fairly quickly. If the conditions were much calmer, this could become a real problem. It was considered quite essential in 17th century warfare to get upwind of your enemy, let your smoke drift down on him to obscure his vision. That is the fog of war. Back of the Royalist artillery there will be able to see the gunners working hard at their pieces. Loading and firing an artillery piece is very similar in a lot of ways to loading and firing a musket. However, because you are dealing with much larger quantities of gunpowder, you have to be much more concerned with safety. So between each shot, they will literally burn out their piece, putting a giant corkscrew down the gun to clear any debris left in it from the previous shot. They'll then put a wet sponge down the barrel extinguish any embers left from the previous shot, and a dry line, get ready for a second attack. Once more, the cavalry disrupting the parliamentarian formations, slowing down any plan of attack. Twice a minute. The flintlock musket is considerably slower than the flintlock or indeed the percussion cap musket of the American Civil War period. Principal problem is they fire their weapons using a piece of glowing match, slow match. This requires setting up each time the weapon is to be fired. Tables to an extent have been turned. The complete muddle of drums onto them. You signify when to attack, when to reform, when to retire. And the parliamentarian commander having problems now, having some units falling back, some going forward. Combat going on in the centre of the field is restricted to a large extent to the fire of the artillery. They're restricted for the moment to firing balls, large iron balls, which would plough through the ranks of men. If their own men weren't in the way, they could use canister. And it looks like the parliamentary commander pulled his men back to reform his line. This will help to restore the morale of their men. These musketeers into a Swedish salvo. The idea to put as much lead into the opposition as possible.
There will be a salvo. Present your peace! Peace!
Cut when his men mutinied. And now the Royalists calling out their battle cries. Parliamentarian artillery. Some of the parliamentarian soldiers, they're kneeling to try and make themselves smaller targets. And now the two sides come to grips yet again. And a second parliamentarian unit has decided it doesn't want to play anymore. They're making to the rear. the burgundy-coated unit streaming to the rear. The Royalist horse in pursuit. If the Royalist commander had more horse available to him, he would have been able to put in a really spirited pursuit.